Hello everyone, Luke here, and like I said in my last video, we're going to be getting right back into talking about the Promised Neverland. Now, if you remember the last chapter where we left off, it was just chapter 160. We had a big cliffhanger where all the kids were where all the kids in like the hideout that Norman had planned for them were basically vanished off the face of the earth after Gillian returned to the hideout and discovered that nobody was around. And these next four chapters, pretty much everything goes to shit. They had the big epic climactic battle with the Queen and the royal family, and now that that's out of the way, because of how Peter was able to take half the Queen's family, everything has just gone completely to shit. But we'll get more insight in the review, so let's just dive right into it. Okay, so this will be chapter 161. Only after I've done these reviews, there will be 2 chapters left until 166. It's a shame it's not 666, because for a series like this, I'll be like, oh. But anyway, let's dive right into it. Okay, so it starts off pretty much in a flashback from the kids' perspective. Like I said, from the last chapter, all the kids are just basically gone, vanished off the face of the earth. So we catch up with them in the flashback as we see all the kids getting on with their days. Everything's nice and peaceful, but I'm seeing a premonition coming as we see 2 feet walking into the hideout with the caption going under threat. As we see Anna and Jemima and a couple of other kids, and no, one of them's Sandy. Yeah, we have Anna, Sandy, Jemima, and Toma. Actually looking after Adam. I believe it's supposed to be Adam. Yeah, they're looking after him, making sure he's all right. And as Anna says to Sandy to take a look at something, Toma hears someone coming. As we see, like the eye of Peter Atari just going like that, like, I found you and you're not getting out of this. As Toma looks excited, it's like Emma. We see Peter Atari with just like an army, an array of the demons behind him as everyone's just scrambling to safety. As he goes, "Greetings, dear cattle," like just with that smile, like just with that creepy smile on his face, like that calm, cleansed smile, but knowing that at any moment he could just like flip the switch and just like turn crazy, and everybody is just panicking like, oh my god, they found us, we're doomed, and everyone's just panicking, completely getting out of control without any sense of order. And this is what Peter actually wants, the fact that he's able to just he just has them in the palm of his hands, and they're all panicking. They're not like obviously thinking strategically, and this leads to their capture basically, as we'll find out in a few chapters time. They're all captured and they're all taken back to the farms. But that's what all we see from the children that were back at the hideout. As we cut back to Emma and the others running through the forest. So we have Emma, Norman, Ray, Ayashi, Hayati, yeah. Sorry, it's been a while. Like, I'm trying to get back into those names. So Hayati, and Don and Gilda, like they're all just running back as Emma's going, run to the hideout. Everyone, please be safe. Please be safe. And Emma, yeah, it's not going to look good. And when she actually does come in contact with Peter Atari, we're probably actually going to get Emma just losing her cool, basically. So as they're all running through the forest, they come across somebody saying boss. It turns out that it's Vincent with Cecil and like the Adam clones, and Norman's like, Vincent, why are you still here? I told you to. And Cecil cuts off. He's like, glad to see you're doing well. Our bad boss, we kind of went against the orders here. We were too worried about you. So sorry. As we see Barbara there as well, and I do actually kind of like this, as it shows that despite they're like wanting to do what they want to do, or their mission to do anything, they're still worried about Norman and still treat him as a friend enough for them to actually go back and check on him and make sure that he's all right and he's not actually killed himself. With Norman chastising them and saying, "Why did you do that? If I had been killed, at least secure your safety. At least secure yourself a safe." Before Vincent comes off and says, you said that you'd be right behind us, so we waited. And again, like I said, the tendency that a good soldier never leaves a man behind, and they view Norman as like their commander, like their boss, or like they're not going to leave their boss behind to get himself killed or be killed by any of the demons. So they decide to wait for him, and they go on to say, "You bested her," as he confirms that the queen is dead, which obviously delights all three of them, like Barbara, Cecil, and Vincent, because obviously this was like their big overarching plan to like overthrow the demon government and just bring it all down, collapsing in on it. Although now that they've done that, like I've been saying before, it's probably made the situation that much more worse, as we'll see in future chapters, like the next 62, 63 and 64, like the next 3 chapters coming along. It's probably made the situation that much worse with what they've done, and how it's probably going to be a mass chaos, not just for the human side but also for the demon side, as we'll see coming up. But more on that later. They go on to say, "To the horses, not a moment to lose," as they all bring them in, and they're going and they're trying to work out how to actually get back to the hideout as fast as they can. But before they can do that, we see Oliver call out to Emma as they've actually caught up to them. But Oliver at this point is looking a little worse for her. Like, he's looking like, "I can't believe we did it. I can't believe we failed this. I can't believe this actually happened to us." Like, he's got the look of just like utter despair on his face. He's like, Emma, you're here. Right, we need to tell you something right now." And Emma looks to him and he's like, What's going on, Oliver? I thought you were backing it out. What's going on here? Like, is it something bad as well?" And we can see like just how much despair like Emma's coming on her face right now, which is just emanating like just like this awe of like, "Oh my God, something bad has happened, hasn't it?" Whilst we've been away. As Oliver gets off his horse, he refers to them that it's awful, the hideout, the children, and he just explains to them just exactly what's happened. And we get like this page where we see just like how much destruction has actually gone on, and the hideout is completely demolished, like completely burnt to the ground. Everything's gone. I believe it is, but because from the image it seems like there's like charred remains, so like it was actually burnt to the ground to like rally the kids out and get them all captured and sent back to the orphanages, which while I'm glad that this actually happened, I did expect this to happen. I expected this to happen when they got into the human world, like they would actually be captured and be brought back into the demon world by Peter Vittori and his forces. And it's a shame now, because I feel like the end of the series is going to be Emma, Ray, and pretty much everyone that does survive this final encounter with Peter Vittori. It's going to end for them like just a big door opening up, and it's like, we're finally going to the human world, to paradise, to our Neverland. I feel like that's probably going to be the last panel of the final chapter of the series, and it's a shame that we didn't get like an arc in the human world before all of this like started going off. And one thing, like I said, when Control Chaos did their time skip video and they mentioned me about how I'm the resident Promised Neverland defender, which, by the way, shouts out to Control Chaos. They're awesome. Go and subscribe to them. Go and join the Discord. Just type in Control Chaos, like say Chainsaw Man, Dr. Stone. Just type in anything like that, and you'll get to them. And join the Discord. We have a lot of fun on there. All of us. I talk to the guys themselves, like Furman, David, and Red, and we all have a lot of fun. But when they did their time skip video there and they mentioned me, it's like that's the thing I will agree with them on about the series. Like the time skip just wasted so much potential, because could have gotten like an arc when Emma and them were actually exploring the world, but also we could have got an arc where they actually go into the human world, are captured and brought back to the demon world itself. But anyway, what can you do? But anyway, that's besides what. The hideout is completely demolished and all the kids have been rallied up. As Oliver goes on to explain, he says, after we separated, he ordered Gillian and Nigel to go back to the hideout, but even when they got back to the hideout, it was too late, as we saw at the end of the last chapter, where Gillian just made it back to the hideout and she just saw that everything had been basically ransacked and basically demolished and destroyed. Basically all the hard work that they've built up over the last 2 years, from not just Emma's side but from also Norman's side, just like completely wasted. Like all the struggles that has been through, that just taken away with a snap of the fingers like that, just because of the fact that Peter Vittorio was playing the long game and just working out ways to trap the kids and basically get what he felt was his property back into the farms. Back into the farms themselves. Before they go on to say that they had already been raided, it was a separate unit. There were several individual squads, and from what they could access, the enemy forces numbered around 2,000. Okay, so from what I'm gathering here is that they had 2,000. They had 2,000 soldiers. Like, that's what the Queen agreed to give Peter. Like, he had 2,000 soldiers, and he probably divided them out. So like he's probably gone and gotten kids that have escaped from other places with another like batch, whilst also going to whilst also dispatching a small number, because I feel like he didn't actually need the 2,000 soldiers to actually go and raid the hideout. So I feel like he's probably divided the units more tactically around the area, so that even if kids have escaped into other areas, they can actually be captured and caught and brought back to him in that sense. If that makes any sense to you guys. As Emma is like saying to them, "Where are the kids?" Like, just like that. I don't care about, like, just where are the kids? Nigel goes on to say that they're taken, the lookouts too, not a single one left behind, and Don questions where they've actually gone, before Gillian says to them that they managed to ambush a few demons and make them spit out. So again, I love the fact that even though they're worried about the kid, like, they're not going to go down for a fight. Like, we've got to get the information out somehow, and we're gonna get it out of these demons if it's the last thing we ever do. So they did manage to get the information out of them, as a demon did a flashback, as they're going, "All right, where are the kids?" And they have guns pointed to them. Like, Gillian and Nigel have guns pointed to this one demon, and he explains to them that they were all moved. Since they treat us as food, they took their goods to the closest safe place for storage, a high-quality farm with solid defences. Gee, I wonder what farm that is, as we've probably seen it the most out of all of them. It was the farm that was introduced at the beginning of the series, and of course, it's Gracefield House, which shocked, like, Emma, Ray, Don and Gilda. Probably more, it shocks Emma and Ray more so, because they went through that whole process of actually getting through the seven walls, and they actually went through that whole mind screw thing back at Gracefield House. Like, they had an image of Gracefield House projected on there. It's like, oh my god, we've got to go back to Gracefield House again to get out of it. Like, how many times do we have to go back to Gracefield House? That's probably what they're thinking right now, but also they're knowing the fact that of just how difficult it was for them to get out of Gracefield House the first time. Now that they've been taken back there, who knows how much security is a tight grip on them, probably even more so than Lambert had, despite the fact that no one was able to get out there. They've probably, like, just absolutely tightened the grip no matter what at this regard. After hearing all of this, Norman goes on to say that it makes sense because the house was where Ivorick's jurisdiction was, and if he was offering the fugitives to the Queen, the farm would make it easier to hide them from the other nobles. And yeah, that kind of does actually make sense when you think about it. But Hattori is more concerned about a bigger issue, which is the 2,000 royal soldiers that they will have to get rid of. But there's an even bigger issue with that, and that is Peter Vittorio and the other humans that they'll have to deal with if they want to get out of this situation. Vincent goes on to say about half of all the restraining forces, 300 in the castle, and they had Gillian, and he goes on to say, now we have no more demons to throw against other demons, no such battle power. Okay, so it's kind of like, okay, they kind of put all their eggs in one basket, and now that this has happened, it's kind of, oh my god, we should have consulted some demons in case something like this actually did happen, and we could have them on our side to battle these other demons. And to make matters worse, Oliver goes on to say that, and here we have a mere 10 people, and some are wounded to boot. The 3 strongest from Lombardy have all taken damage. This is all we have. With this, we're supposed to save hundreds of people from the farm. But with Emma being there, you know what she's going to say. She's going to be saying, I don't care. We're going to save them, even if the odds are stacked against us. And Yeah, that's a typical shonen thing to say because Luffy does this sometimes in One Piece. Despite the odds being stacked against him, he goes through impossible odds to get out what he achieves, and sometimes that doesn't succeed, like with Ace. But other times he's like at the moment now in One Piece with Kaido. Even though he has like an array of allies behind him, it's still going to be pretty impossible mountain for Luffy to overcome if he wants to take down Kaido. As they're all like moping around and sulking, and Gilda goes on to say, "What should we do?" And Vincent's thinking, "Nothing. It's hopeless. This time we have no chance of victory. No opening." Emma just butts in and says, "Let's go to Gracefield House," which of course she's gonna say that because this is her family we're talking about here, and even though some people disagree with what Emma is doing, like with the guys in Control Chaos, like they disagree with Emma just constantly going over saying like, let's save everyone, let's save everyone, let's save everyone. People have to understand that this is Emma we're talking about, and this is her family, and they've been through so much shit that she just doesn't want to see them suffer any more than what they have to. And despite being a large family, and even in the back of her mind how she's thinking that is still impossible, it's still her family, and it's very realistic what Emma's doing here. It's like if your family was in danger, and even if it was like impossible to save them, you wouldn't be just sitting back and letting them and resigning themselves to a fate. No, you would be saving them as well. And this is what Emma's doing. And one thing I've really loved about Emma's character is how she states his conviction through the end. She's not disregarded it in any way. If she's had a chance to save anyone in her family, despite the impossible odds, she has stuck by that and she has saved them, even if it's completely impossible. As everyone is looking at her like, "What are you talking about, Emma?" She's like, "Don't give in to doubt. We're going to help everyone." And Gilda goes, "But," and Ray butts in as well to add his 2 cents. "We get the idea, but the question is how? How are we going to do that?" And Vincent asks Emma, does she have a plan? Which she says no, but they can figure it out on the way. And Dawn goes, there she goes again. It's almost like they're becoming aware of the fact that, even though we're saying it's hopeless, we've got Emma here, so she's obviously gonna convince us that it isn't a hopeless threat, a hopeless endeavor to actually go and try and save everyone. Although I'm not so certain that everyone is going to make it out based on what happens in chapter 164. I still don't believe everyone is going to make it out of this series alive. But Emma goes on to say, "But don't go about thinking how hopeless it is. It's much better to decide we can do it, then figure out how. It will be okay. Norman and Ray are with us too. I am here too. All of you. You have changed the world. We were such tiny things born in cages, and we have achieved so much already." Which, to be fair, yes, they have. They've changed so much about the world, and they've even made a new promise. That the fact that they're actually just giving up now, and again, you have to commend Emma for this fact that she just never ever gives up. No matter what, she just never gives up. If she has a conviction, she's going to see through it as best she can, right through to the end. Even if you don't agree that that's very reasonable or very realistic, and it kind of makes her a little bit bland, you still have to commend the fact that she's not changed her views. Like, she's stuck to it. For even, like, going back to One Piece, you could say, like, Luffy's dream is pretty ridiculous. It is pretty ridiculous at points that he's probably going to find in One Piece, even though we, the audience, knows. The characters in the story think it's pretty impossible, but he doesn't care. He just sticks by it. He doesn't care how he gets there. He's going to get there. The same thing with Emma. Like, she doesn't care how hopeless it is. They've changed the world so much. They've achieved so much, and now they're just going to sit back and let fate take its course. Like, she's never going to do that, and we just all have to accept that that's going to be a fact. And she goes on to say, "We're almost there now, just one more step and we're already on the way. The Ratari clan, 2,000 soldiers, no big deal. We've done so much, we can do this. So keep your heads up and keep thinking." As everyone was just looking surprised at Emma, like, how does she still have this conviction despite the fact that the kids are being captured, they're being taken back to Gracefield House, and there's still 2,000 soldiers that we've got to deal with. Norman just sighs to himself and just starts laughing, which is the most appropriate reaction. for him to go, as he goes, somehow I always feel like there is hope when Emma says it. And yeah, there is always hope, because Emma kept saying this at the beginning of the series, like, no, I want to save these kids, I want to save these kids, and despite them saying it is impossible for you to do that, she still saved them and they still got out. So he's probably like, we have hope here now that Emma's here, which, if Emma dies, then whoa, that hope is just going to be like just ripped away from everyone. As they continue on and start to get like their second wind, or get their compulsion back up and get their hope back up, they go on to say, Ginny goes on to say, true enough, and Nigel goes, yeah, you've got to admit, we've got lots of success so far, as Ray laminates that, though we've also had our failures, there's plenty to regret, but if we're too afraid of that, we'll close ourselves to the real possibilities. And again, I love this, I've loved this character arc of Ray, how he's gone from like just this like guy who's just been sitting in the background thinking like, it's hopeless, I don't care, we're gonna die anyway, so we might as well just make do with what we've got. And slowly over the series, he's with that healthy influence from Emma, he has started to see the possibilities of the impossible being possible. And I doubt Ray would have said something like this at the beginning of the series in Gracefield House, so it shows cleverly the change that he has gone through over the series, and how healthy his view on the world has changed thanks to Emma, and how Emma's persistent nature has just kept them all going forward. And Dawn agrees with that before Vincent goes on to say the death should have been planned for later, so everyone must still be alive. Okay, so there is a little bit of hope in that regard. And Gilda goes on to say 2,000 demons. I guess we should pass on a direct assault her. And Dawn adds to the conversation by saying we have the plans to Gracefield, courtesy of the Minerva data dump. And Sack goes on to say, right. After we reach the house, our goal should be, as Jinin goes, infiltration. Okay, so it's going to be more like a sneak around, like carefully monitoring the idea and the tactics, and slowly playing the chess game against Peter Atari in order to get the kids out and get them out of Gracefield House without any casualties. Although I'm expecting a few casualties, and I'll honestly be surprised if no one actually died. As Emma goes on to say, that's it, we get a look into Norman's mind as he goes on to think, oh, I see, this is her way, how she came so far, as we get a flashback from his perspective of Emma going, you are not alone, and he goes, yes, I remember this feeling, that it's okay to feel vulnerable, it's okay because you're not alone, and that's the strength of humankind. So in Norman's head, he's seen that even if you feel that you are alone, you're never alone, because there's always going to be someone or a few people rallying behind you to your cause and making you think like, no, you are worth saving, even if you've done so many terrible things. And again, I don't like how Norman was sort of like, oh, I want to kill demons too. Like, oh, actually, I don't want to kill them now. I hated that character shift from it. I really wish they hadn't have done that. And Norman should have died. Norman should have died in the battle itself, because that would have, again, not only been a greater impact on the series that a main character died, but also would have given like more of a doubt in Emma's mind and more conflictions of what she should do, and it should have been everyone rallying together behind Emma, saying like, hey, even though Norman died, he would not want you to be like this. He would want you to go out and still be yourself and save everyone, because that is who you are, Emma. And that is the strength of humankind, just being yourself despite the impossible odds and despite the cards being stacked against you. And and as they all move back onto the horses and start to move out, they all reach back to the farms as the captain goes for a new world, as they go, whatever happens, it ends here. As Emma goes, let's go, our family's waiting, and that's where the chapter ends. Okay, so not really the best chapter in the world. It was more a case of just like, getting everyone up to speed about what's happened with the family being captured, and them thinking like what to do, and Emma rallying everyone together to say that, okay, we are going to save them no matter what, and we need to do this, and we need to put our minds to it and go and do an infiltration mission. So even though it wasn't the best chapter, I'm still looking forward to seeing where this element goes, because in the next 3 chapters we don't really get any focus on Emma or the group that's actually gone back to Gracefield House. It's more focused on finding out what happens to Soldier and Musica, and what happens to the kids when they are actually taken back to Gracefield House. So that's all I can say with this chapter, is that it was very brief. Not really much happened in it, but is set up for what is essentially going to be the final battle of the series before we actually reach its climax. Which, again, like I said in the Dr. Stone review, I'm picturing ending at sort of like what on chapter 161 here. I'm picturing either 109, like 200, like chapter 200 max. That's all I'm predicting. It might end sooner. It might end at chapter 185, 196. It might end at somewhere, but I'm predicting maximum chapter 200. I don't see it lasting any longer than that. I see it going on for, like, I'd say another 8 months. So I see, like, August, the 4th anniversary of Promised Neverland, I see that being like the end of the series. But anyway, guys, what did you think of this chapter? Let me know. Like, subscribe, comment, all that jazz. And chapter 162 will be hopefully coming out tomorrow. And chapter 163 and 164 hopefully coming out on Thursday. But we'll just have to wait and see on that. And this will be Lasher Luke signing off. Later, guys.